Hello and welcome to the show. It is a World Cup special on News Central TV. Remember, you can reach us on social media at News Central, and of course, follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Udoka Njoko, and I've got amazing guests in the house. I've got Bamiji Ojo and Joseph Nwabara. And online on Zoom, I have a guest joining us, Jovita Kanjumbua, joining us all the way from Namibia. Good to have you with us, beautiful Jovita.
Well, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
All right, there's a whole lot to talk about. But before we get into the main deal of today, let me ask you, what do you make of the tournament so far happening over there in Qatar?
So far, it's been exciting. I love the fact that, you know, the World Cup shows great quality, great potential. I love the story of Saudi Arabia so far. Quite unfortunate that they lost to Poland, but they had started so well, defeating Argentina, who are termed to be one of the nations to possibly lift the trophy, but quite a sad start for them. They did pick up yesterday some points, which was quite exciting. But overall, I think the tournament is bringing flair. It's bringing exciting things from different nations. Quite disappointing that Africa so far is not really performing the way I would love them to have performed. But at least Senegal got a victory for Africa. Ghana tried, but it was not enough. And Tunisia, unfortunately, also suffered a defeat against Australia. So for Africa, it's a bit of a challenge to really be on par with the rest of the world. But I think they are still performing quite okay. I would have wanted them to perform a bit more better and surprise the world that, you know, it's possibly time for Africa.
All right, Bamiji, looking at the African team's performance so far in the tournament, what do you make of it?
Odoka, I must tell you, I still think we're having this issue of respecting our European counterparts or even the other parts of the world.
Yeah,
I saw the game against Ghana and Ghana-Portugal, and I thought if Ghana put a little bit more effort into that game, they could have won it. Mohamed Kudus in the midfield was absolutely amazing. He held it down for Ghana all through, but I think the tactics or what they were instructed to do by the manager was not to be proactive or to be attacking, and that's what limited them so far. It's been a poor showing. Tunisia, I mean, they're already out. We are tight spots. Morocco is yet to score a goal yet. Yeah. Senegal has to play Ecuador, who has probably been the best team in Group A for me. And so it's really tough to see where the African countries are going.
And for Joseph, looking at the performance so far, do we have the best representation at the World Cup for the African team? We have Cameroon, Senegal, there is Tunisia there as well. We have Ghana and Morocco in Qatar. Are these the best hands to represent Africa? Because we have other powerhouses who did not get to qualify for the World Cup.
Thank you. You said they didn't get to qualify. It was a qualifying series before these 5 in March. So to me, that is what we can offer the world. And they are quite good. But just like my brother here said, I think maybe we pay too much respect to the European counterpart. All things being equal, I hope maybe 1 or 2 of our representatives make it to the round of 16. I wouldn't want what happened in 2018 Russia to repeat itself, where all 5 African representatives left at the group stage. You know, unfortunately, Senegal was supposed to progress, you know, because they had 4 points, same with Japan. But because of this man issue, they had more yellow cards than Japan.
Right.
So I hope this time 1 or 2 Africans, maybe Senegal, maybe Ghana joins them, because this is actually looking promising.
We'll see how that goes for the African teams who still have a chance to qualify from the group stage of the tournament in Qatar. But let's jump straight to our stories that we have for you today. Of course, history has been made over there at the World Cup, talking about refereeing, and female referees have gotten to feature at this year's World Cup. And we are particular about Africa because News Central is about Africa first. Let's talk about Rwanda's Salima Mukansanga, who has emerged one of the officials right there in Qatar. And of course, accolades being poured in for the referee from left, right, and center all over Africa and across the world. And she is well experienced. But so far, Bamiji, what we've seen from FIFA and the Qatar World Cup is her being a fourth official.
Yeah, well, I think we should still take it as a win because, I mean, everything comes gradually. Our first major breakthrough in men's football was at the AFCON, a game between Zimbabwe and Guinea, and I'm just happy that she's the one continuing to push that flag for us. I'm sure from being the fourth official, I'm sure it's going to progress later. But I'm happy because I love women inclusion into sport. I love what the FIFA is doing generally in terms of trying to enlighten and make it more aware as women's football.
Yeah.
And I really love it.
I thought you were just going to leave it as you love women. I was going to scream and say, wow. Wow. All right, we have another guest joining us, Iradukunda Yvonne, all the way from Rwanda. Of course, good to have you with us, Iradukunda.
Yes, how are you?
I'm very well. And we're talking about the World Cup and what African teams have, how they performed so far at the tournament. We'd like to get a brief from you, how you see the African team's performance so far in Qatar.
I think the African team's performance so far was not good. For real, was not good because, like, for so far, Tunisia and Morocco has both teams have only 1 point. So I think the performance was not good. But let us just wait for other two games for other teams. Unless Tunisia, they lost yesterday. So let us wait for for even Ghana, Morocco. But I'm not sure if our teams are going to pass through from group stages.
We're wishing them well, and we hope that a miracle can actually happen for the teams to qualify from the group stage. Yeah,
sure. We wish.
All right, we'll see about that. So we're talking about refereeing situations right there, and female referees being appointed as officials in Qatar. This is the first in the World Cup, and also knowing that Qatar is a region known for human rights, most especially about female right there. And we have the likes of Rwanda's Mukansanga in Qatar as a fourth official, a big plus for Africa. But is it enough for her to be a fourth official in Qatar? Because she's well experienced when it comes to refereeing.
Yeah, as I said, she's more experienced because she participated in the Olympic Games. She participated in the African Men's Cup Nation, and she was a referee in the Central Court, and she also participated in the Women's World Cup. She's more experienced. But even Rwandans here, many Rwandans expected her to see her in a pitch, not only being the fourth referee, but it's a big pressure for Rwanda, even for Africa, to see Salma Mukansanga in the World Cup for the first time, first woman African referee to be in the World Cup for men.
All right, so Jovita, for Mukansanga, the FIFA head of referees, Colina, has come out to say that they are being appointed not because they are women, but because they are referees. This is their first call of duty. They are referees, and we shouldn't have any cultural or religious bias towards these referees. And I think it's a big plus. But looking at Mukansanga being a fourth official, do you still think she will be at the center of things in the World Cup? Because we still have other referees who have not even taken charge, and it is likely that they might actually take charge of games in the knockout stage of the tournament. But do you think that Rwanda's Mukansanga can still be at the center of things in Qatar?
Well, it's very difficult for her being a first timer at the World Cup and being the men's World Cup as well. The pressure to perform excellently is what they usually look for, and she's certainly qualified. And she can come to the party if given the opportunity. But at this particular moment, I don't think so. I don't think they'll give her the opportunity to be the center referee of a game. But I think maybe they could give her, she would possibly just stay in the same position, seeing that it's her first time at the World Cup, and then there are probably other referees who have more experience at the men's FIFA World Cup, to be particular. So I think she might just stay there, but she has an impeccable record on the African continent. She just went to the Africa Men's Cup of Nations. She has been to the Women's Cup of Nations. She's been to the FIFA Women's World Cup. But again, it's a different platform. It's the FIFA World Cup. It's her first time there. And so I think maybe just, I know that just going there already is a plus. It would be nice for her, of course, to be a center referee. But I think at this one, they might not put her in charge of any game.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens in coming days. But one thing is guaranteed, this is a big opening for women all over the world, Jovita.
It is. It's such a big opening. I mean, it all started with Stephanie from France, and then we have Yashima from Japan. Now we're having an African representing us. So we see the diversity. We see the diversity of referees, of women referees at the World Cup. And we also have 3 assistant referees who are women as well at this particular World Cup from Brazil, Mexico, and America. So I think that with Gianni Infantino's vision of empowering women through football and really making sure that not only at the playing level that women can partake and should be funded to play for the junior teams, the development phase. It's good to know that refereeing is also being considered because it's an integral part of the game. And the fact that we are seeing the representation of 6 women at the World Cup and 1 for Africa, it's such a huge plus. And seeing that also the one thing I like about Salima is not coming from one of the popular African nations who are doing well in football, your West African countries like Senegal, Nigeria, or even Ghana. She's coming from Rwanda, which is so refreshing to see that it's also showing a line on the big stage, but that they do also have potential in other aspects of the game. So that is what I really love about her. It's so unique that she's coming from Rwanda, and we don't really see Rwanda part.
All right, still looking at the Makatanga situation now. Let me jump over to Yvonne. Yes, you're over there in Rwanda. How did the Football Federation get to take this one? How did the referees unit in Rwanda get to accept this news about Makatanga being in Qatar?
Yeah, like it's a pressure for the football in Rwanda, especially in football feminine, or women football, being expelled by other women in refereeing and in football at all. But for women football, we are not good, but for refereeing for Mukansanga Salma, it's a big pressure for Rwanda, even for Rwandan football.
All right, we look forward to more interesting moments for Mukansanga right there. But before I let you go, I'd like to put you on the spot. For Yvonne, I'd like to make a quick prediction. What team is supporting in Qatar and how far that team will go? The same will go for Jovita, but I'll start with you, Yvonne.
So for African team, I'm supporting Cameroon.
Okay.
But I'm waiting if we will pass through. But for all, I'm supporting Brazil. And I think we will be the winner. Okay,
you're supporting Cameroon and you want Brazil to be the winner. And Cameroon would get to play Brazil in the same group.
The reality of our participation of our performance for African teams, we know that it was. But at all, I see that Brazil will be the winner.
All right, we'll see how that goes. Jovita, over to you. Who do you support and how far do you think the country will go?
Well, man, I'm supporting all 5 African countries. Okay. But realistically, I think Senegal and Ghana have a good chance of progressing to the round of 16. And I will give Africa a fair share of reaching the quarterfinals this time around. I don't think we are there yet to reach the semifinals. They haven't been impressive to think that they can be the top 4. And I think France has what it takes to defend their title. So I'm rooting for all Africa and France.
All right, so thank you very much, Jovita Kanjumbua and Yvonne Iradukunda from Rwanda for joining us this morning to talk about everything Qatar and most especially the female referees in Qatar. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having us.
All right, Joseph, you've heard them talking about female refereeing situation in Qatar, and it's a big plus for Africa. I'd like to give you 1 minute, quickly wrap up on that.
Okay, when we talked about Salima being a 4th official, I think it's still early. It's just the first match in the first round. So hopefully she will get a chance to be a center referee. Again, don't forget that the Premier League have 2 representatives in the World Cup, the person of Michael Oliver and Anthony Taylor. And they've not even been 4th officials. So many referees, there are 6 referees, just few of them have participated. Okay. So I think she will still do, she will still make us more proud.
All right. We'll see how that goes. And hopefully she can actually get to take the control at the center of things. Moving on from there, let's talk about our second story now. As when it comes to playing football, when you get your chance to score, please score a goal. And we shouldn't come out later to start either blaming the referee or the football pitch or whatever it is. But yes, it is valid. A whole lot of football fans across the world are talking about the game between Ghana and Portugal. And the coach, Otoado, also came out to say for the Ghana Football Association, they've come out to sign a petition against the referee who took charge of that game against Portugal. And from video clips all over the world, the question everybody kept on asking is, where is the video assistant referee when you need it? How was that call a penalty? Is it because he is Cristiano Ronaldo?
Penalty to me, but when you allow or when you give the referee a decision to make in that kind of report or no answer to that question, why didn't you go to VAR? Because if you went to VAR, if you checked that, you would have seen that there was little minimum. Ronaldo played for that. He went for that. And once he felt the contact, it went down immediately.
You know, talking about the VAR, Joseph, before this World Cup, we heard there were going to be a lot of changes. We refine the way calls are being made in Qatar. We would not spend so much time with the VAR because new technology has been brought upon. And do you think this is one of the reasons why there was no VAR check, or the referee didn't go to check the VAR screen or something, or something like that? Because we didn't get any break at all to go to the VAR, and the decision was made penalty. Do you think it was because of the new technology in Qatar?
I really don't think so. I really feel football is very serious, and we don't want any form of bias. So referees should take their time and do their job properly. If you look at this World Cup, more time is being added to at the end of the match. It's because of all these things, so that everybody will be up and doing, you know. I really don't think it was right for him to neglect checking for himself, because the VAR officials, they are assistant officials, they are not responsible for anything. You are the one making the call. So, and it's unfortunate that this is very controversial, and Ghana FA have even filed a petition for FIFA. And you look at what Colina said, the FIFA chief ref, that referees who didn't perform very well in the group stage may not, you know, be selected to officiate matches in the next round. So it's really bad for Ismail, who currently is the MLS best coach, best referee. So having these controversies is not really a good one for him.
Now, a report has been sent to FIFA, but nothing will change.
Nothing will change. It's just what it is. Referees are protected by them, so you can't expect all this Ghana is doing is just going to be revisionism and at the end of the day to be forgotten. But yeah, I totally agree. I understand this pain because the game was balanced up until that point, and we all know penalty changes the game.
All right, of course, Ghana had a chance to draw that game in the last the dying moment of that encounter, but it did end in a loss for the Black Stars of Ghana to Portugal 3-2. But let's listen to the head coach of Ghana as they look forward to their next games, and hopefully they can get to qualify from that group. Of course, Otoado spoke about why African countries are not performing well, and also a bit of a reaction to the Ghana FA signing the petition.
Like you said, the game plan was okay, but then the referee gave a penalty which was not a penalty. Everybody saw that Salis was playing the ball. I don't know why, because it's Ronaldo or something. The bar, I don't know what they're doing, slipping. It's a mess.
Is it because it is Cristiano Ronaldo? That penalty was not a penalty. So come on, let's get things, let's get our acts together over there in Qatar. That was a pain coach, Otoado. But of course, pick up the pieces, take the positives, and move on to your next game and see how you can lead Ghana to the next round of the tournament in Qatar. Because before the tournament, a whole lot of people have actually pointed fingers at Ghana and Senegal as the likely teams to move out from the group stage to the next round of the tournament. So we wish the Black Stars of Ghana well over there in Qatar. Now moving on, let's talk about a man who was born in Cameroon and he plays for Switzerland. And as fate will have it, Cameroon and Switzerland got to meet in the World Cup. Lo and behold, Brelin Mbolo scored the goal for Switzerland to send Cameroon without a point in that group. And reports have it that Mbolo's family house in Cameroon was boggled by football fans, and now the mother has come out to say, look, leave my son alone. He was trained and groomed in Switzerland. Yes, he's born in Cameroon, and he doesn't want to play for Cameroon. He decides to play for Switzerland. And he did score a goal, showed respect to Cameroon, and did not celebrate. Why is he receiving the sticks?
Look, the truth is that I've never been a fan of what fans do, especially with what happens in the World Cup tournament. We all know what happened before Escobar the own goal he scored. Same thing with Sani Kaita. When he got a red card for Nigeria against Greece, his house was also. So I've never been a fan of it. And you pointed out one thing, which I think is the key thing we need to note there. He respected immediately. He scored the goal. He knew that guys, don't rush me, please.
It's about to go down.
This is my country. Just and you respect it, but still. You can't stop things like that, and it's really shameful.
Very shameful. Yeah. You know, it's really pitiful when football fans get to do this. I mean, a player has shown you enough respect by not celebrating the football, a goal scored, be it scoring against his country or former club. They do pay that respect and not celebrate. But why can't you take out the positives from that game and prepare for the next match? Why go ahead with violence?
You know, football is full of emotions. But then this is one thing the officials have to come and look for ways to control it so that it doesn't escalate to something bad, like we're experiencing with Bolo now.
Bolo.
And he made mention of Sani Keita in Kano here. And last year, we saw when Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho, and Marcus Rashford missed penalty in the finals in England. They were racially abused. All these are not supposed, but then we understand that sometimes people can't control their emotion, but we should learn to do that, and the officials should also learn to see how they can curb these issues.
All right, officials need to see how they can actually curb these issues, but of course for football fans, we need love and unity. That's what football does. It brings about world peace and unity. Remember, the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, said before the World Cup, let's put aside all our differences and enjoy football and let football do what it knows how to do best, bring us together. And that's a wrap on our top stories. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, there's still more action to talk about right here on the show, World Cup Special. The spirit of Diego Maradona showed Messi on Argentina in that game against Mexico in Qatar. Of course, it was filled with a lot of emotions. I'm talking about the Argentina fans right there, hoping that they could get that win because of that shock loss to Saudi Arabia. And who else turned up? The other man called Lionel Messi, who is assumed as the best player in the world, got Argentina the first goal, and of course he scored the second goal in the second half to lead them to that 2-0 win over Mexico. Argentina back on track in Qatar.
It was very important. They needed that win badly. If you, in tournaments, like for example, when Spain lost their first game in that 2010 World Cup as well, they needed that win to push their belief, and I think that's the same one Argentina got against Mexico, because Scaloni's tactics so far in this World Cup has really been tough to see, because the Saudis did well in terms of their offside traps and all of that, but we've not really seen a special or a peculiar route to go for Argentina this World Cup. So getting that win was very vital. I mean, I was telling you guys just before the show started, the Mexicans, they put three players on Di Maria and Lionel Messi. The minute they missed out on one moment, Lionel Messi got that goal.
Well, so you don't leave Messi free anywhere close to the box. He would make things happen for Argentina.
You don't do that. This is,
you just don't.
This is probably the best player of all time in football. Some people argue that. And Messi is too fast, very unpredictable, very magical. Just like he said, one moment and he punishes everybody. And that's what happened. Argentina, they are the bookie favorite, one of the bookie favorites for this World Cup. And like you said, the shocking loss against Saudi Arabia is a one that they just have to respond. So the Mexicans, we're expecting them to respond. They try to curtail them, but unfortunately, Messi showed Messi's abilities.
Of course, and for Lionel Messi, he has said this will be his last World Cup. And if Argentina don't get to win this World Cup, well, a lot of people will still look at Lionel Messi as not the best player in the world because he doesn't have a World Cup to show for it. But of course, it was emotional. You could tell from the goal and celebration from Lionel Messi, he was almost going to cry in that one. And if they had lost, we would have actually seen Lionel Messi cry. It would have actually happened for Messi.
It won't be the first time.
Yes, it will be the first time, of course. Of course. But talking about the man himself, Lionel Messi, he actually spoke after that 2-0 win over Mexico. Of course, we have a long way to go ahead of us. Lionel Messi speaking after that game between Argentina and Mexico, where they won that one 2-0. And let's talk about the African countries performing, starting off with Tunisia. Of course, their game against Australia ended in a loss. And for the Carthage Eagles, their wings were clipped in the tournament, and now I think it's been set free for them to go back to Tunisia. Not a great performance against Australia. They had the chances to get something out of this match, but it looked like the Australians were more determined in this game.
Just like you said, I really feel bad for Tunisia, being the second team to leave the tournament just after Qatar. I feel they had more to offer, but then they let it slip. Yeah.
They let it slip. And for the African teams, I remember Otuado talking about reasons why Africans are not performing so well at the World Cup. So he talked about tactics, he talked about team management and all of that. And we could tell this actually came to the fore with all the African teams performing, from Ghana taking on Portugal. I mean, there was no reason to score a goal and celebrate when you needed to just go pick the ball, go back to the center circle and kickstart play. For Tunisia, they had the chances to score, but they just couldn't get the ball into the back of the net.
Particularly something for Tunisia that I didn't seem to understand, maybe because it's gotten older, but Kajri has been their major man in the past couple of years. And I know, like I did say, he's getting older, but this is the moment you play these guys that have a little bit of experience. He came on late in the game and he couldn't do anything, but it was disappointing from Tunisia because they were one of the teams that, I mean, after qualifying from the AFCON qualifiers into the World Cup, I saw Tunisia, I saw Morocco, I'm like, okay, what do these North African teams have for us? What can they do in terms of pushing the African propaganda? But it's been disappointing. So.
Disappointing. And the coach also came out to talk after that game. He pointed out a few things right there. And of course, we're looking forward to see if we can actually see more of Tunisia in probably future qualifiers, and if they can do better than what they did. And moving on from there, let's talk about the defending champions, France. Yes, and they've shown quality. And I spoke before at the World Cup. I said, look, France have what it takes to go all the way easily to the finals, in as much as they had injury problems, like Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kante, Nkunku out of that one. But they still had Benzema, the best player in the world, out. Olivier Giroud has come up to score goals. Mbappe scoring goals for the team. They have what it takes to lead France once again to the finals easily.
Yeah. Good mention there. I would want to say I'm very impressed with Tuacheni, who has come up to seamlessly make us not miss N'Golo Kante that much. You know, I'm really happy for that young man. And Rabiot have done well to see how he can replace Pogba. And like you said, Giroud scored 2 goals in his first match. The last match did very well, just that didn't get the goal. So we are not really missing Benzema that much. Generally, France have been wonderful. The backline changed a bit. We're seeing the likes of Upamecano, you know, but then still very solid. And one person yesterday that I feel they didn't talk more about, but he was outstanding, was Griezmann.
I was going to mention Griezmann. He was the one that
I was hoping he did.
Yeah. I was just hoping that he scored a goal yesterday.
The
drought still continues.
But then Mbappe still, you know,
of course, going into the World Cup, if there was anybody that needed the World Cup, was Griezmann.
Yeah.
Since his move to Barca, we've not seen the Griezmann that we know. But at the French national team, that's where he feels himself. That's where he feels alive again.
Yeah.
In this new role where he plays above Tchouaméni and Rabiot, he's been revised.
Fantastic, yeah.
And he's been amazing.
I agree with you. And for Griezmann, still looking for a World Cup goal. The drought still continues. I'm hoping and believing that Griezmann can actually score a goal this time around in Qatar. But hoping for the best for France right there. Now, we'll look at the Saudi Arabia fans. We saw them play yesterday. Yes, they got a goal. They defeated Argentina in the first one, 2-1. And we heard they had promises of cars in Saudi, but of course, I don't know. We've not gotten any update on that one. But for Lewandowski scoring yesterday for Poland, it was quite an amazing one for Poland in the World Cup. But let's mention what happened to Saudi Arabia yesterday. They fell apart. But of course, they still have a chance of qualifying from their group.
Yeah. They've been one of the rookies in the World Cup. Very impressive, the first win against Argentina. And yesterday's match, I think they came in a bit overconfident.
You think?
Yes. You could see...
But they showed it. The Polish players were threatened all through that game until
they're quite good. But, you know, sometimes overconfidence can make you, make some silly mistakes. And it showed in their match yesterday. There were a lot of loose balls. They were losing second balls they could easily have gotten and used properly. They were missing them.
Yeah.
And you could see the Polish players were calm, and they got their goals. So I feel they still have a chance, but then it was a good game for the Polish
Right, and for Poland, Lewandowski, his dream has always to score a goal at the World Cup, and it did happen for him thanks to, they say in Pidgin, they say, if another man own no spoil, another man own no go better. So Lewandowski got that chance to score, and he did score for Poland. And for the Polish fans, they did celebrate that win over Saudi Arabia. Let's go straight to the fans' corner.
Fantastic game, very tough. We played against a great team. Saudi Arabia is a fantastic team, and they were pressing all the time. But the Polish team possibly played the best game in the World Cup in this century.
We were just better, and we saw first time Robert Lewandowski score goal on Mundial.
It was an amazing game. We needed this win. Now we have the energy to keep going. We're moving past the group stage. We're going to make it.
Unfortunately, we didn't play well. After Argentina's game, I think they had a lot of confidence going into the game. And hopefully we can win next game and beat Mexico and top into the group.
I'm really sad. We played really good, but we couldn't score. And inshallah next game we're gonna win and go to round 16. But I just want to say thank you to the players.
All right, for the Polish fans celebrating right there after that win over Saudi Arabia. And for the Saudi Arabian fan, he said, look, yes, they lost that one, but they hope to get a win over Mexico. Now let's jump straight to the groups now from Group A to E, looking at how the teams are turning out. Netherlands, after 2 games, they have 4 points. Ecuador have 4 points after 2 games. Senegal won their game against Qatar, and they have 3 points. And Qatar are out of the tournament. And Senegal needs to win the last one to secure qualification to the next round. England, after 2 games, they have 1 win and 1 draw with 4 points. Iran have 3 points. And we have USA with 2 points and Wales with 1 point after 2 games. So this group is still very much open. And if Mexico, of course, let's look at Group C now. Mexico with just 1 point. Saudi Arabia with 3 points, Argentina with 3 points, Poland with 4 points, of course, Group C as well. Group B and C, very much open. Let's jump straight to Group D. France already qualified to the next round of the tournament. Australia on the verge of qualifying if they get to draw their last game or win. And Denmark and Tunisia, well, Tunisia out of the tournament, and Denmark still have a chance to secure qualification to the next round of the tournament. Running away from Group D now, let's go to Group E. Spain, Japan, with 3 points each, that's after 1 game. And Germany and Costa Rica have no points yet. But of course, for Germany and Costa Rica, they can move on to the next phase of the tournament if they get wins in their remaining games. Looking at the fixtures of matches to go down today, Belgium will be in action. And who will they be playing against? An African team, Morocco.
Well, like I said, Tunisia and Morocco were 2 teams I was looking at, and I really hope they performed well because I loved when Algeria did it in 2018. I was impressed with Slimani and the players they had there. In fact, in the past couple of years, I'd seen the improvement from North African teams. So Morocco with Ziyech coming back in, I was really sad. Arit of Marseille couldn't make it because of the injury, and there's Hakimi there as well, but they yet score a goal, and it's going to be a big one for them. How much can they contain Kevin De Bruyne? He didn't have a good game against Canada. He owned up to it, even though after they gave him the award, he said,
"Is it because I'm Kevin De Bruyne?"
Yeah. So, but let's see how much they can contain KD, because that's the major issue there.
All right, looking at the other games, Japan and Costa Rica currently ongoing. That game is in a goalless draw situation after the first half. And we'll see Spain taking on Germany. That'll be later today by 8 p.m. And that's a match everyone will be looking forward to seeing. And that's in Group E. Moving on to Group F now, we'll see more interesting games go down right there. Belgium taking on Morocco, and Croatia will be up against Canada. Interesting games so far in the World Cup. And for bettors, yes, tickets done the cast from left, right, and center.
Since day one.
Yes.
Since day one.
Since day one.
Very dramatic World Cup.
I'm telling you, very dramatic World Cup. But one thing is guaranteed, we've seen less corner kicks. So probably
now you can go down.
Invest in that.
But one thing that enjoy so far.
Yeah.
I mean, you asked our guest from Rwanda, and the fact that as at now we can't place who is a favorite for the World Cup. I appreciate that.
But I think France is still a standout favorite for the World Cup.
For you?
Yes, for me.
For me, it's Spain.
Spain? Yeah. Okay, we'll see how they turn out against Germany later today. But of course, as we always do, let's wrap up the show with what you missed on social media. But of course, thank you guys for coming. Bamiji and of course, Joseph Nwabara. I would never forget that name.
Thank you so much for having us.
And to our online guests, Jovita Kanjumbwa and of course, Yvonne Eradukunda from Rwanda, Jovita from Namibia joining us this morning. We say a very big thank you very much to you. And I am Udoka Njoku signing out. This is World Cup Special.